Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video and the second part of, I think it's going to be in a three-part series of our how to play against the field as Katsu. Last video we kind of went over a lot of the meta heroes, quote quote, as it pertains to the US, right, in my local meta. And now we're kind of getting to step 2 of this and go over 5 more heroes, and then we'll have one more part because I just don't want to have a 25-minute video going over 9 heroes. The first one we're going to talk about is Viscera, and Viscera could have easily, obviously, been the first video with the meta heroes because he is a meta hero right now, at least in our area. So take that as you will. And really quickly, just like the first video, this is when I say against the meta, I'm talking about like how against it is as in my experience as a player and the US based meta as a whole. So if you live in a different region or different country, and like I have Dorinthia in the 3rd section or something, and she's like the meta hero wherever you're at, that's not a hit on like me thinking she's not a part of the meta. I'm just going off my own experience. So please take that for how you will. But going into Viscera, as far as playing Viscera against Viscera as a Katsu, especially an aggro Katsu like myself, you don't sub in a whole lot, to be honest. The hardest thing with Viscera is you don't know if he's OTK, you don't know if he's a combo, you don't know if he's going aggro against you. I will say I think more of the Viscerais as of late in this meta so far, at least the ones I've played, have been aggro based because a lot of the new cards he got are really good for aggro. Swarming Gloomville is really good for OTK too, but I think like Revel and Runeblood, like Shrill, like all these different Runeblade cards, even like the Dominate card is really good for aggro. So that's how I take it. So I normally try to hedge a little bit towards aggro. Really, the only thing I change is Null Rune. There's not much to change. I've toyed with doing 1 or 2 Null Rune. Some people just say 1 to block out the Rune Chance, right, which makes total sense. But there's a opinion to give 2 at the chest and gloves is where I do it. Some people do boots in gloves because you're able to block out Rosetta late game. If the Viscera hits all their Mob Skies early, not all, but a good amount of their Mob Skies early, they can race you pretty well, right? Because you have to block out the Mob Sky attacks or else they get 3 Rune Chance out red. Now, if it's the blue Mob Skies, maybe you don't have to block out as much, but the yellow and the red Mob Skies really hurt, and it almost forces you to block a little bit. So doing that, they kind of can race you because of that, because you're having to efficiently block. So having that 2 Null Rune late game might end up helping you. Depending on your build, because you're able to block out Rosetta fully late game. Because when you can't block out Rosetta fully late game, once they get you below like 8 health or something like that, they're just going to start doing the old fashioned attack Rosetta if they can get it with Go Again, and just bleed you out. So there's a thought about that. One thing I've also done against someone, if I know it's an aggro-vis, only if I know it's an aggro-vis for sure, I will sub in 3 Flick Flacks. And the reason I do that is a lot of his attacks in the aggro builds attack for 4. Not all of them, obviously, like Amplify the Arcanine is 6, but like Room Flash, Meet and Greet, right? What else? Spellblade Assault, Spellblade Strike, like all these different attacks. A lot of them attack for that 4 breakpoint. And when he couples that with Mob Skies, it like forces you as a ninja to either use your breaking, well, you don't have breaking skills most of the time. It forces you to use 2 cards from hand, which really sucks, especially on the red Mob Skies. So if you have those Flick Flacks and you can save one for when he comes in with like Mob Skies into Spellblade Assault or something like that, you're able to block out the Spellblade Assault with 1 card. It's not bad. It really isn't. I think Flick Flack's kind of underrated against the aggro Viscera build. And it's definitely viable. But that's how I play against him. Most of the time you're just racing him. If it's OTK, you're just going to try to get him as low as humanly possible, as quickly as humanly possible before he gets to that like 17, 18 rune chant threshold, which is like the kill threshold for the most part. And if he's combo, same thing. Like you're trying to force him to commit cards from hand so he can't make rune chances easy. And if it's aggro, like the only time you're blocking is on like a red Mob Sky's turn or maybe a yellow Mob Sky's turn. Other than that, you're just racing him. I run 15 blues in my deck. You could go up to 17 to help deal with the arcane, but at the same time, like you're so inefficiently blocking for arcane, because the thing about pitching for arcane is you pitch 3 to block arcane when you could just block 3 with your physical. Like most of your blues are block 3s unless you're doing the block 2 version of Katsu. If you're doing the block 2 version of Katsu, then your blues are efficiently blocking out the arcane. But if you're not, most of the time they're not. So that's how Viscera plays for the most part. So yeah, 1 to 2 Null Rune depending on your preference. Right now I'm still on 1, but I'm experimenting with 2, and then 3 Flick Flacks if you know it's an aggro version. The next one is Rhino, and Rhino is an interesting one. Honestly, it's no change. There's no reason to change anything in. You don't need defense reactions. You don't like because he's just going to intimidate you anyway. So he's probably going to intimidate away your defense reactions. There's a good chance he will. So, or he'll if you like, let's say you did unmovables, just to try to get rid of his high blood rush bellow attacks or something like that. He can just intimidate away. So it doesn't really help at all. You just go as aggro as possible. If you have scars in your main board or your sideboard, put them in this game because you're gonna be trading damage constantly and just race them to 0. I think Katsu's definitely favored, unless he just gets stupid, crazy back-to-back turns where he's like going ham. The thing about Rhino is he almost forces you not to block and just race him, because if he intimidates you twice a turn, there's no point blocking anyway with the last 2 cards in your hand. You'll just come back and hit him. So it literally turns into a game where no one blocks. Because his natural ability forces you to not forces you, but causes you to basically not block, because there's no point. You're not value blocking. So just race. No change from him, honestly. Next one is Lexi. Lexi's a really good hero right now. I think the ice build's a lot better than the lightning build. Lightning build's not unviable by any means. It's still a solid build, especially with some of the new toys she got. But Lexi's a tough one. She puts a lot of disruption, a lot of issues. But frostbites don't hurt as much as you would think, unless it's like 2 or 3, because you can just like let's say she frostbite you twice, right? Which is a lot. You know, all you gotta do is pitch to play a scar for 2. It sucks. It's not ideal, but then your hand's freed up and you still have 3 cards in hand, or 2 cards in hand and 1 in arsenal, right? So it's not crazy. If she only gives you 1 frostbite, then just pitch a 0 cost attack if you can for 1, and then you're good. It's the discard effect that kills you, like the Frost Fangs, right? The Chilling Ice Fang Fuse. Those discard effect builds are really, really hard. So try to block those out efficiently when you can. I definitely, if you're playing Alexi, I would sub in Flick Flax. Probably Flick Flax. The good thing about Flick Flax is it allows you, if she's not pitching, sometimes she won't pitch a red arrow. Sometimes it'll be a yellow arrow, which comes in for 4. And that, if she gives a go again, which most of the time they do with the Voltaire builds. So those Flick Flags will help you block that out. If they lightning press it, they lightning press it. But that's how I play Lexi, and most of the time you just try to manage block efficiently when it's a discard effect that's being presented, and then just deal damage to her. Lexi is not going to block, does not want to block unless she has no choice. So if you can keep tempo early, you're in good shape. But she can be really disruptive and really hard to play against as a Katsu. You have to be really smart with how you play off her frostbites. The next one is Dorinthia. Again, not much of a change. The only thing I would do, it depends on what she's running, right? So we have the Dawnblade Dorinthia, and we have Axes Dorinthia starting to get popular. There is Sabres Dorinthia popping around, but not really. It's more Dawnblade, and Axes is really popular right now. If it's Dawnblade's hard to deal with as a Katsu than Axes, in my opinion, because of the strength of attacks is a little bit better than Axes, unless you have those really go wide 3x turns. If it's a Dawnblade Dorinthia, which you're not going to know prior to sideboarding, it sucks, then I would say run 3 unmovables. If you do know, then it's good. Run 3 unmovables. Take out 1 of each attack action. I would take out, honestly, 2 razors and 1 Ancestral Empowerment and keep her even bigger than that, because she's not going to want to block your Kodachis. She is going to block it with Valiant Domino, but she's not going to be able to block with both. So unmovables for Dawnblade Dorinthia. If it's Axis Dorinthia, you could sub in 3 Flick Flax, just to help out a little bit, but no real change there. You're just going to race her. Axis Dorinthia, I think, personally can't keep up with Katsu damage-wise, so you're just going to race her to 0 and probably beat her as long as you draw decent. Mix up your attacks. If it's Axis Dorinthia, don't just Kodachi unless you have even bigger than that. Make her have to make more decisions, right? If you just Kodachi, she's going to block 1 of them with Valiant Domino. She still has a full grip, and now you're down to 3 cards with 1 resource, right? If you can, mix up your attacks. Make her have to think to efficiently block. So that's the thing with Axes, with Dawnblade, like I said, 3 unmovables, and just save your unmovables for the Singeing Steelblade turns, because that's when you're going to need them the most. So the next one is Bolton. Bolton's a little weird. Bolton is really about managing and being efficient, right? He's waiting for those Lumen Ascension turns, but he's also very efficient with how he blocks. He has a lot of defense reactions, decent amount, and he likes to charge. So for Bolton, you sub in your 3 Flick Flax, right? You sub in 2 Command and Conquers, and then you take out 1 of each of the, even bigger than that, Ancestral and Razor, and then you Normally I'll take out like one blackout kick and like one soul bead for the command conquers. So it really just depends. Um, I definitely think that Bolton's a little bit harder. You have to manage your life total properly, do what you can, but apply pressure. He doesn't like to block if he doesn't have defense reactions because he wants to charge. And if you can like efficiently block out a charge turn for him when he wants to try to get it to charge up his soul or whatever it is, then you can do really well. Because if he gets the Luminous Ascension but he has hardly any charges, it doesn't help him out at all, right? So if you can prevent charges efficiently when possible and then just manage it and try to hit him down to zero. So that's Bolton. Bolton's very tough if it's a good Bolton player. Bolton's one of those heroes where like I don't see him perform really well at like the mid level, right? Like mid elo level, whatever you want to call it. Because people don't know how to pilot him correctly. But at the high levels, he's very oppressive. It just at our level, at a normal player, like people don't play him correctly. But that's it for today. Tomorrow, the next day, or whenever the next one goes live, I'll go over like Kano and Azalea and a couple of the other heroes that I didn't get to today. I just wanted to do 5 because I didn't want it to go too long. We're at 11 minutes right now. I didn't want to do it in our 20-minute video. Yesterday was a little long. Yeah. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this. Hopefully it's making sense. Again, I'll link my video, my deck list with the sideboard guide down below so you all can see it and take what you want from it. Let me know your opinions, good and bad. I'm super excited to see what you all think. And yeah, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. If not me, go to another Flesh and Blood creator, do the same thing for them so we can get more people seeing this game. And yeah, I'll talk to y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.